Oh, hello there. Yes, well, thankfully it's Friday. Oh, teaching for over 7 hours yesterday was definitely doing my head in. Anyway, it's a bit early for the election results, I suppose, but yeah, we'll see what particular upsets there are. Nothing in particular that you might want to care about at the moment. We'll have to see over the weekend, really. Either way, it was a bad night for, well, everybody, I hope, personally. Yes, anyway, yesterday my eye was mainly drawn to the whole hoo-ha about, about student protests on campus spreading like an infectious disease like they were. And it was interesting seeing the standard media take on this, because there is decidedly one. Liberal outlets like The Guardian decided to highlight the threat to Jewish students, which is perhaps the standard response that you can expect from The Guardian these days. So much for the left-leaning paper. But if there's a anti-Semitism on the left story, it's undoubtedly going to come out of something like The Guardian. Most of the kind of GB News and Talk TV stuff was what you would expect, but a lot of it sort of tied into that kind of Telegraph, Nat Cons, sort of Liz Truss style of the threat to the West. Yeah, so we had Peter Whittle making this face, which made me smile, who was basically saying that it's 20 years of indoctrination by people like me is the reason why PhD students can't be allowed to make up their own mind. Notice that I haven't said anything about why these people are demonstrating, but neither are these stations, right? Okay, no sense of anybody being interviewed who actually is taking part. For example, we get Jake Wallace-Simpson on Talk TV, who's an apologist for the Israeli state. Let's face it, yeah? Then we actually get the voice of da youth, following on from that, of Ollie London, who, again, is a paid agent of Israel. Yeah, okay then, mate. When have you ever actually sat an exam? Did you any? I don't know. But where are the student voices? Well, Ollie is the closest that they can get, of course. GB News managed to follow up by having some American Republicans living in the UK telling us about all the stuff that was happening out there. And it was realistically left to the BBC to actually give us shock horror voices of da youth involved, or at least, quite a lot of them. And gosh, wouldn't you just know it, that what these students want is for their universities to get involved in BDS and to divest from various ties they have with the Israeli state. But of course, this is too much, and it is going too far, because we can't have free speech on campus. We can't have young people looking at the evidence and making up their mind, because they might come up with the wrong answer, which is what they've done round here, of course. Time to crack heads. But the biggest silence, of course, the hugest gaping hole of silence, is from all the free speech merchants like Toby Young, who has not managed to mention these things whatsoever. Free speech on campus, burning issue as of a few years ago, because, them lefties are shutting things down. But oh no, with this it's going to have to be that we need to crack some heads, because otherwise, something, destruction of the family and the church, and probably, moss growing on a south-facing wall. Something like that, anyway. But just absolutely astounding that such a paucity of reality amongst these people that have the audacity to call themselves journalists. Anyway, do have a lovely weekend. It's a nice long one, and it might actually bring us some good news. I'm hoping that certain mayoral races will go one particular way, which may well aggravate an awful lot of people who are regularly guests on GB News. Because after all, people think the wrong things, and that leads them to voting for the wrong things. And I'm pleased to say that, at least in a small part, I'm responsible. Do have a lovely day, if you can do. I'm ready for the weekend.